Tutorial 2. Pattern Calculation. Let us start making calculations for adjusting the pattern. You can see all measurements taken off my client and off the pattern in the table. Let me turn your attention to the process of taking measurements off the pattern you have received and printed out. I took the measurements for the second column of the table myself. How did I do it? I printed out the pattern, cut it from mock-up fabric, sewed down all princess seams, carefully put the mock-up on the dress form, and stuffed all the hollows with padding polyester to make a full imitation of a human body. Then I took a measuring tape and measured it along all major lines of reference, as if I were measuring a person. Of course, I have enough experience of working with this pattern, and I know what the finished garment is supposed to look like, so I can simplify the process. But if you're dealing with a new paper pattern for the first time, you'd better follow my advice. You might want to adjust the measurements after sewing your first dress after it. It's important to record the values of such adjustments for a particular dress model into a notebook. I recommend you give a name to each dress model. As for me, I name them after the first client I made the garment for. This way, you won't get confused between different dresses and adjustments. Sure, you can determine the standard dimensions by simply measuring the paper pattern, but you will still have to sew a mock-up. How come? The thing is, only a mock-up allows you to work on the shape of the back, the cups, and, if applicable, lace insets of the garment. A mock-up is simply a must. It is often made exactly for the sake of brushing up the overall look of the model. It's a widely used, traditional trick, so don't neglect it. Remember that your mock-up will solve many challenging issues. Let's start adjusting the standard pattern after individual measurements. First, let's have a look at 3 measurements that affect everything else. They are bust middle, bust front, and underbust front. Bust middle. My client's measurement is 18 centimeters, and it is 20 centimeters on the pattern. 18 centimeters minus 20 centimeters equals -2 centimeters. I divide it in half, since each piece has 2 vertical sides, and it turns out the pattern needs to be narrowed down by 1 centimeter. I always make a separate BM column in the table and write -1 centimeters in every line, lest I forget it. Now, let's determine the configuration of the side seam contour of the front of the dress. It is determined by 2 measurements, bust front and underbust front. Bust front measurement. It is 46 centimeters on the client and 49 centimeters on the pattern. But I have already narrowed down the pattern by 1 centimeter from each side at the bust line level, a total of 2 centimeters. 49 centimeters minus 2 centimeters equals 47 centimeters. 46 centimeters minus 47 centimeters equals -1 centimeter. I divide it in half too. As a result, I need to narrow the front of the dress down by 0.5 centimeters from each side to put the side seams in place. I write -0.5 centimeters in line 1 of column 3. Underbust front measurement. 37 centimeters on the client and 40 centimeters on the pattern. However, I have already narrowed the pattern down by 1 centimeter from each side at the bust line level, i.e. a total of 2 centimeters. 40 centimeters minus 2 centimeters equals 38 centimeters. 37 centimeters minus 38 centimeters equals -1 centimeter. I divide it in half. I need to narrow the front piece down by 0.5 centimeters from each side at the underbust level. I write negative 0.5 centimeters into line 2 of column 3. It's already obvious from the calculations that it makes sense to shift the entire side seam contour of the front of the dress 0.5 centimeters inwards to preserve its graceful shape and configuration. That's why I write negative 0.5 centimeters in the third column for the entire length of the side seam. Side length. My client's measurement is 18 centimeters, while on the pattern it is 20 centimeters. 18 centimeters minus 20 centimeters equals negative 2 centimeters. I need to shorten the side length by 2 centimeters at the top. I write negative 2 centimeters in line 9 of column 3. Clip measurement. Towards the arm's eye, 9 centimeters on the client and 11 centimeters on the pattern. 9 centimeters minus 11 centimeters equals negative 2 centimeters. I need to shorten the clip by 2 centimeters. Towards the corner, 9 centimeters on the client and 11 centimeters on the pattern. 9 centimeters minus 11 centimeters equals negative 2 centimeters. Again, I need to shorten the clip by 2 centimeters. Towards the neckline, 6 centimeters on the client and 7 centimeters on the pattern. 6 centimeters minus 7 centimeters equals negative 1 centimeter. I need to shorten the clip by 1 centimeter. I write the value of adjustment in line 10 of column 3. Now, I know that I need to remove 2 centimeters at the top of the side seam and shorten the clip towards the arm's eye and the clip towards the neckline by the same 2 centimeters. It certainly sounds logical. The entire top edge of the pattern will shift down by 2 centimeters. Now let us calculate the configuration of the side seam on the back of the dress with regard to all alterations applied at the front. First, let's make some preliminary calculations and write all adjustment values into column 5, side seam B. The bust front and the underbust front measurements are not involved in these calculations. I write dashes in the table. We start from the bust circumference. It is 85 centimeters on the client and 93 centimeters on the pattern. However, I have already narrowed down the pattern by 2 centimeters in the middle and shifted each side of the front inwards by 0.5 centimeters. If you sum these values up, you will see that I have narrowed the pattern by a total of 3 centimeters. 93 centimeters minus 3 centimeters equals 90 centimeters. 85 centimeters minus 90 centimeters equals negative 5 centimeters. There are 5 extra centimeters left on the pattern, and I need to distribute them between the left and the right side of the back. As a result, I need to shift each side of the back 2.5 centimeters inwards at the bust line level. I write negative 2.5 centimeters in the table. The next measurement is underbust circumference. It is 74 centimeters on the client and 80 centimeters on the pattern. However, I have already narrowed down the pattern by 2 centimeters in the middle and shifted each side of the front inwards by 0.5 centimeters. If you sum these values up, you will see that I have narrowed the pattern by a total of 3 centimeters. 80 centimeters minus 3 centimeters equals 77 centimeters. 74 centimeters minus 77 centimeters equals negative 3 centimeters. Therefore, there are 3 extra centimeters left on the pattern, and I need to distribute them between the left and the right side of the back. As a result, I need to shift each side of the back 1.5 centimeters inwards at the underbust level. I write negative 1.5 centimeters in the table. Let's look at the waist circumference. It is 71 centimeters on the client and 75 centimeters on the pattern. I have already narrowed down the pattern by 2 centimeters in the middle and shifted each side of the front inwards by 0.5 centimeters. If you sum it up, you will see that I have narrowed the pattern by a total of 3 centimeters. 75 centimeters minus 3 centimeters equals 72 centimeters. 71 centimeters minus 72 centimeters equals -1 centimeter. I need to narrow the back down by 0.5 centimeters from each side at the waistline level in order to adjust the pattern after the client's measurements and ensure proper fitting to the waist. I write -0.5 centimeters in the table. Now let's move to the stomach circumference, taken 12 centimeters below the waistline. It is 91 centimeters on the client and 95 centimeters on the pattern. But I have already narrowed down the pattern by 2 centimeters in the middle and shifted each side of the front inwards by 0.5 centimeters. If you sum it up, you will see that I have narrowed the pattern by a total of 3 centimeters. 95 centimeters minus 3 centimeters equals 92 centimeters. 91 centimeters minus 92 centimeters equals -1 centimeter. In order to adjust the pattern after my client's body size, I need to shift each side by 0.5 centimeters inwards at the stomach level. I write -0.5 centimeters in the table. Hip circumference: 96 centimeters on the client and 103 centimeters on the pattern. However, I have already narrowed the pattern down by 2 centimeters in the middle and shifted each side of the front inwards by 0.5 centimeters. In other words, I have narrowed the pattern by a total of 3 centimeters. 103 centimeters minus 3 centimeters equals 100 centimeters. 96 centimeters minus 100 centimeters equals -4 centimeters. In order to adjust the pattern after my client's body size, I need to shift each side 2 centimeters inwards at the hip level. I write -2 centimeters in the table. The bust middle measurement is not relevant here. I write a dash. Side length: I need to shorten it by 2 centimeters at the top. I write -2 centimeters in line 9 of column 4. There is no clip measurement at the back. I write another dash. Let us study the results of the calculations. While the side seam seems to have a nice and even contour at the front, it has turned out really wavy at the back. In this case, it will be incredibly hard to align the raw edges of the piece, and you'll get all kinds of tucks, creases, and distortion of the entire garment. That is why it is our current task to even those raw edges out. Let us redefine the side seam contour on the back piece. We need to choose a logical common value and distribute the remaining adjustment values between the princess seams of the back. I suggest we should narrow the back down by 0.5 centimeters. Record that value into the side seam back adjusted column and distribute the remaining values above the waistline at the hip level between the princess seams or the darts in the back. I write -0.5 centimeters for the entire length of the side seam at the back, column 6. By the way, all measurements above the waistline are irrelevant to this particular dress model. If not for the lace inset at the top, we could have done without calculating any adjustments above the waistline. We would then also leave them out when working on the mock-up, since that part of the dress would get cut off anyway. But since we do have a lace inset at the top, let us calculate everything. All calculated adjustment values related to the princess seams of the back should be recorded in column 7. At the bust line level, I need to shift the side seams inwards by 2.5 centimeters, while the common value I've chosen is only 0.5 centimeters. 2.5 centimeters minus 0.5 centimeters equals 2 centimeters. There is 2 extra centimeters left from each side of the back of the dress. 4 centimeters total. Each half of the back features a princess seam that joins 2 raw edges. This means I will distribute that extra 2 centimeters between those raw edges. In other words, I need to narrow the piece down by 1 centimeter from each side of the princess seam. I write -1 centimeter in the table. At the underbust level, I need to shift it inwards by 1.5 centimeters, but the common value is 0.5 centimeters. 1.5 centimeters minus 0.5 centimeters equals 1 centimeter. There is 1 extra centimeter left from each side of the back, 2 centimeters total. This means I will distribute the extra 1 centimeter between 2 raw edges of the dart. In other words, I need to narrow it down by 0.5 centimeters from each side of the princess seam. I write -0.5 centimeters in the table. At the waistline and at the stomach level, everything coincides. I write a 0 in the table. At the hip line level, I need to shift it inwards by 2 centimeters, but the common value is 0.5 centimeters. 2 centimeters minus 0.5 centimeters equals 1.5 centimeters. There is an extra 1.5 centimeters left from each side of the back, 3 centimeters total. This means I will distribute the extra 1.5 centimeters between 2 raw edges of the dart. In other words, I need to narrow it down by about 0.7 centimeters from each side of the princess seam. I write -0.7 centimeters in the table. That is all. We're done with the calculations. I have at hand all necessary values for adjusting the standard pattern. Let me double-check it to save myself from making a mistake in cutting. Do not embark upon the cutting process before you double-check everything. I go through every line of the table with freshly calculated values. Such verification has the following purpose. The value of a measurement of the standard pattern plus all calculated alterations, alteration values in the middle of the bust and along the side seams are multiplied by 2 and along the princess seams by 4, equal the corresponding client's measurement. At the bust line level, 93 minus 2 minus 1 minus 1 minus 4 equals 85. At the underbust level, 80 minus 2 minus 1 minus 1 minus 2 equals 74. At the waistline level, 75 minus 2 minus 1 minus 1 minus 0 equals 71. At the stomach level, 95 minus 2 minus 1 minus 1 minus 0 equals 91. At the hip line level, 103 minus 2 minus 1 minus 1 minus 3 equals 96. Now I am fully confident about the calculations. We can safely start cutting then. Next, you should print out the pattern sheets, glue them together, following my instructions, and adjust the standard pattern using the calculated values.